Yo, what's good, everybody? Appreciate y'all for tuning in. Y'all already know who it is. It's your man from Fick, checking in with another one. Before we kick off this video on how to do a brake job on a 2019 Lincoln Navigator, I want to go over some of the tools that's going to be required to complete the job, all right? Okay, first things first, you're going to need a good jack. This is a heavy vehicle, so I got a pretty, a pretty big jack here. It's a 3-ton, so make sure whatever you get, it can support the weight of your vehicle. So that's number one. Second thing you will definitely need is a screwdriver. It makes it a little easier if you can like wedge and compress the pistons before taking them out of the caliper. And sometimes you can stick a screwdriver in there and, move them around and push them in a little bit. Second thing you'll need is a 10 millimeter ratchet. Now to take the bolts, the top bolts off of the brake calipers is a 10 millimeter. So you can use that. Also, you'll need a pair of channel locks. Those are those because along with the brake caliper, you have to hold there's like a nut on the end that if you just use the 10 millimeter, it'll just spin around, right? It'll just keep spinning. So you have to hold the nut on the back of it with the channel locks and unscrew the top bolt. All right. You need a hammer because a lot of times the rotors will like get fused to the hub and they'll be hard to come off. So you might have to use a hammer to get the rotors off once once they're unbolted. And you will need, this is a 13/16. That's the size for they're big bolts on the bracket that holds the brake caliper. So you'll need that, and get yourself a good breaker bar because those things are really on there. And I had to have this set up like that to get it off there. So a good breaker bar will do you right. All right. So you're gonna need some grease. All right. Please make sure you grease up the caliper pins. All right. A lot of times they're like floating calipers. They move. Okay. So you want them to be greased up so they can move and they can slide along that pin. WD-40 or whatever that blaster stuff is that comes in a purple can. But I have some of that. I couldn't find it. So I used WD-40 to help loosen up those bracket bolts I was telling you about. And of course you need brake cleaner for those new rotors. Now new rotors out the pack come with some type of film on them that you're gonna want to clean that off. So okay, this isn't necessary, but it's helpful. The impact gun, I use that once I broke a lot of the bolts. Now I hit it with the impact gun, so save me from having to do a lot of twisting. And you're gonna need a set of wrenches. And last but not least, a big safety feature is please get you a good set of jack stands so you're not reliant on the weight of the vehicle being supported by the jack. The jack is hydraulic and that stuff can fail. So, you just want to be careful. Make sure you set your jack stands up. All right. And, that should do it. So let's get into the video. Okay. So just to give y'all a better view of what's going on in the video, because I'm doing this myself and it's hard to hold the camera and, and work on the car. So this is the brake caliper. This entire piece right here is the bracket. And you have to take this part off first. In order to take the caliper off, 13. And I think I said you need a 10 earlier on. My apologies. It's a 13. There's one bolt up here. And there's another bolt right there. Okay. You take that one off. You take this one off. Now, in order to take these bolts off, you'll need a pair of channel locks because you see this piece right here? When you start unbolting this or attempt to unbolt this piece will continuously spin. So grab a pair of channel locks and you gotta hold this piece. Okay, you gotta hold that piece. Don't mess up the rubber boot, but hold that piece while unbolting it and it'll come right off. Okay, so you take those two bolts off, then the caliper is free. Take the caliper, hang it up here. Okay, don't let the caliper, see, these are the brake lines. Remember I was telling you earlier, these are the brake lines. Don't let the caliper just hang by the brake line. All right.
Is that the brake?
Okay, yeah. Don't let the caliper hang by the brake line. Take it, set it up here where it's not messing the brake lines up, or take a hanger, bend the hanger up, and then hang it on that. Okay. Now to take the bracket off, you need 13/16. All right, that's a lot bigger bolt. All right, 13/16. And those bolts, there is one right here. Okay. And then there is one right there. You take those, unbolt those two, and the bracket will come off. Now remember what I told y'all about that. You need a breaker bar. Those bolts are on there. So you need 13/16 to a ratchet and put your breaker bar on there, all right? And you won't have any issues.
Okay, now let's jump into the video from the beginning. All right, so now that we got the tire off, the first thing we want to do is take the brake caliper off. So as you can see now, like I told y'all in the beginning, you can use a screwdriver and wedge the screwdriver in between the brake pad and the brake caliper piston. You'll be able to push the piston in a little bit with your screwdriver, so you can wiggle the brake calipers off. All right, because the piston is all the way out, and they got the calipers, the brake pads pressed up against the rotor. So you're gonna need to create yourself some room so you can take the whole brake caliper off. So that's what you see. That's what I'm doing right now. Once you get the brake caliper loose, the brake caliper is attached to brake line. You do not want to bend or twist your lines up, so make sure you sit it on top of the wheel hub, or you can even get a hanger and hang it up on something, because you do not want to. You want to make sure that you keep your lines free without getting tangled up or bunched up or break them lines. So be careful where you set your brake, where you set the brake caliper at. And see, once I got the caliper off, them old brake pads came out of the bracket. So now that's the next thing to remove is the bracket. Now remember I told y'all at the beginning, the bolts that hold the bracket on are big, and they're on there really tight. So as y'all can see, for the next couple of minutes, I'm about to really be struggling trying to get them bolts off until I realize I need that breaker bar. So shoot, I even cut a lot of it off. It took me a minute to to come to grips with that. I wasn't gonna be able to get them bolts off too easy. As you can see, I'm getting super frustrated now, right? So I'm thinking, all right, I don't have enough leverage, right? I need to turn the wheel a little bit more so I can get to the so I can access the bolts. Now, I wouldn't recommend doing this while the car's on the jack stands. I was super careful to make sure that like it wasn't gonna move or slide off my jack when I did this. But I needed to get. I felt like I needed some extra space, but that wasn't it. I just didn't have. I just wasn't using the right tool, right? So when I say breaker bar, you got your ratchet and you get a long pipe to go over top of the ratchet to create more leverage for yourself. That way it'll, you know what I mean? It'll be a stronger it'll just be a stronger tool. Like the longer the pipe is, the more leverage, the more power you're gonna have with breaking them bolts. All right, so this where I gave up right here. My back hurt. I'm frustrated. That the boat will not move at all. So I'm like, you know, forget it. I'm about to go hook my air tank up and get them impact tools, them air tools. I was like, I know the air tools will get it done. Guess what, y'all? Nope. It's not until I went to go get that breaker bar where I had some success. No. So now that we got the bracket off, it's time to grease the caliper pins. It's time to use your wire brush and clean some of that brake dust off of the bracket. Remove the old clips and replace them with the new clips. Okay, y'all see the difference between a new brake pad and a worn brake pad? It's a big difference, right? So the next steps we have is to put the new brake pads in the bracket, and then to take our rotors out the pack and spray them with brake cleaner so we can get that coating off of the rotors. All right, so they'll be ready to go. Okay, so before everything can go back together, the pistons in the brake caliper have to be totally compressed. So the way brake pads work is brake pads are like really thick when they're brand new, and you know over time they get worn down and they get skinnier and skinnier, and as they get skinnier, the pistons come out further and further. So by the time it's time to do a brake job and you take those skinny old brake pads out, the pistons are pushed out pretty far, and you cannot get new brake pads over top of the rotors and back in the brake caliper. They won't fit unless you compress the piston. So that's what I'm doing here. Okay, so now the last thing to do is to reassemble everything. Put the rotor back on, then the bracket, then we put on the brake caliper, then the tire go back on. And that's it. Your brake job is complete. P.S. Stay tuned to find out what to do for your rear brake pads and rear rotors. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time.
Okay, so look, I just wanted to give y'all a quick tip that if you have to do the rear rotors and brakes, you're gonna run into it's a little different. Okay, I was gonna say you're gonna run into a different issue, but it doesn't have to be an issue, just different. These bolts for the calipers are actually 10 millimeters on the rear. So for the front, 13, for the rear, 10. Okay, same setup, one at the top, one at the bottom. The top, one at the bottom, one at the bottom. Okay, oh, that should be on. One at the bottom. You'll need a 10 millimeter for that. You'll need your channel locks, okay, because the same thing, it'll spin if you don't. The caliper is smaller on the rear. In the front caliper, there's 2 pistons, and the rear there's only 1. The major difference with the rear is parking brake, okay? So for this particular vehicle, 2019 Lincoln Navigator, I had to put it in what's called brake service mode. It's a mode in the vehicle where I guess whatever this electric piston is, it'll retract, and I'll be able to. And then once it does that, I'm able to do exactly what I did with the front. I'm able to take the caliper off, compress the piston manually, and you know, service the brakes. Okay. And then the other notable difference is the bolts for the bracket are bigger than the 1316. Okay, I didn't have the exact size needed, so I had to go to AutoZone and get it. You'll need a 24 24 millimeter to take off the bolts for this particular bracket. All right. So there you have it, and that's it. That's all you need to do. Rotors and brakes all the way around, front and back.